Frank Zappa brilliantly said and did. But does AI belong in music? So that is the question on the last human songwriter podcast, episode 3. Welcome, welcome. Um, and by all means, if anybody has anything to say, put it in the chats as we are live. Most people will watch this after the fact on Radio YouTube channel. And by the way, if you are watching this, DM me so you can subscribe to my newsletter and my emailing list because I'm doing some cool stuff and I would like to share it with all of those who actually are interested first before I share it to the masses and all that stuff, which is why we are talking about AI and music, because when you share music on Spotify, for example, a lot of that music is based on or related to AI. So does AI belong in music? And the answer is I don't have an answer, but what I do have is I have my personal views, and that's why I like sharing them, because I feel like more and more I listen to podcasts on YouTube, and again, there's people on there as of yesterday or even last night talking about how this new AI app, it writes all the chords for me and it writes the songs and it really inspires me to record. And I'm just thinking to myself, it's writing everything for you. So what's there to inspire you? Um, but I try to, the Libra in me tries to look at both sides of the story. So, I can understand why an app or an AI program that creates chords and creates beats and creates melody ideas and creates lyrics ideas is probably a very helpful tool in today's day and age when more and more and more music creators are considered to be not only music creators, they're content creators, which is what I'm struggling with myself. As I record music, I multitask. I think about getting the milk on the way home from recording. So as I was playing that guitar part, I'm thinking about getting the oat milk at the store, maybe bumping into Robin again, or uh, what font I'm going to use when I'm decorating my recording video that I put up after this on Radio, and a plethora of other things. Like I'm thinking about it, which on the way here, I made a post or a story saying that I wasn't going to think about it. And to be honest, I was trying to concentrate on playing because I'm recording these parts live and showing that I'm a human and I'm doing them all in one take, which is why if you were watching me earlier, I stopped it a few times because I didn't, I kind of messed up a little bit. So, I if I was recording at the studio on the 2 inch back in the day, what would happen is, first of all, if you wanted high quality back in the day, you would speed the tape up. And by doing so, you get less recording time on each reel. But also at the same time, when you record something, and you stop and rewind it on a tape machine, you're messing with the motors, you're messing with the quality of the tape. So actually stopping and recording is not necessarily a good option, and it definitely wasn't a really good option back in the day because you would lessen the quality of the tape. Now, of course, I'm recording onto a program called Reaper, and it's a digital workspace. So I can stop and record all the time. But then here we are again, like stopping and recording when I'm going live and stopping my live stream is not very good either because nobody really wants to watch a live stream if I'm stopping and recording. So, um, but these are the things that I feel like humans have to catch up, or humans today have to multitask because AI is taking all of that. AI is progressing by the millisecond, and if we can't keep up with it, or we can't start using it to our advantage, then we really are going to, well, I don't know. That's why I'm here. I mean, if I were to shut off and just go to the rainforest and, maybe the best thing that I could do would be bringing a tape cassette player that I could hit play and record, and I made music that way. So that way I was 100% analog. I had no communications to the world. I'm in the rainforest. I have an acoustic guitar. My technologies would be the tape machine, and that's the most, which, by the way, is very, that's a lot compared to people that don't have those things that live in the rainforest. But I digress. What would my art become if I was no longer posting on social media, uploading it on YouTube, or didn't have a mailing list, or I didn't have a way for people to go to my website and just, hey, I have all this music. If you want it, here, here it is. I'm in the rain now. I'm in the rainforest, and I'm making music into a tape recorder that nobody other than the animals and the few inhabitants of the rainforest are going to know. Now, if somebody were to find that tape recorder years and years later, and maybe I did have some cool, like, I had some cool riffs on there, and people were like, wow, this artist was making all these cool guitar riffs and these songs, and he was singing into it, and they're amazing. And then all of a sudden, 30 years from now, it does hit the internet or whatever it might be at that time. Who knows? The AI net. And people are like, wow, this was like so amazing because he made this in 2024, and he decided to drop all the technologies and not use any AI or anything like that, and like listen to his music. It's very human. It's very human like. Meanwhile, in 20 years from now, geez, that's a lifetime. That's multiple lifetimes in AI. Like, who knows what's going to be of AI and music artists in 5 years from now. I say in 2 years. I say in 2 months, like what's going to happen. So it's just really interesting to be a musician today and have to, adapt and multitask, and this acceptance that everybody seems to be posting on social media and YouTube, that musicians are no longer just musicians. They need to be content creators, and they need to do this, and they need to do this, and just focus. And people just blatantly say, like, if you only focus on music, you're not going to make it in the music business. And it's so interesting to hear that. But I think the more and more we start using AI, the more and more we start realizing, like, because AI is progressing so fast, that we really, like, the art form of painting or the art form of writing a song on an acoustic guitar and singing is becoming so obsolete in so many ways. But yet, here we are. I still think that there is going to be a niche of people that love vinyl and love listening to people that are actually writing songs. Um, and it's just going to be interesting moving forward on how those types of artists that want to niche down and maintain some sort of humanality, that is a word, humanity, in the music. It's going to be interesting to see how we can navigate and adapt to what everybody else is doing, because in one aspect you have music artists that are just doing music because they love it, and okay, but then in the other aspect, I hear these things again. I hear people saying, well, if you have money and you want to promote your music, if your music isn't the greatest, but you go on and you're a funny person and you do all these things and you're a content creator and you have some budget and you promote it, you'll be way more successful than the person who is actually just 100% dedicated. Now, the fine line there remains that all art is considered equal and all art is meaningful to somebody or someone. So I don't necessarily want to say ever that, an artist that is better than another artist, because there's no such thing. Music is not a mathematical equation. It's an art form that people can either like or not, and that's everybody's own personal opinion. including AI's opinion, apparently. So, but what they're saying is maybe some musician that doesn't necessarily have a style that's appealing to the masses that are digesting his material or her material might progress way more further than somebody else who is doing something that would apparently appeal to the masses, but they're not sending out enough content. They're not promoting themselves. They're not marketing themselves enough. So the person who is less appealing is actually going to be more popular. And I mean that's definitely where we are right now. And it's really interesting. I'm on the toilet ready to listen. Well, that's fantastic. I'm here in the studio ready to talk. Morning, Matt. Hey, good morning. So, yeah, I mean that's where we're at and it's just really interesting for me as a music artist. Uh and I also look at it like because of my age, I'm older than, the music artists that are coming out today, like the teenagers and the 20 some year olds that are really, you know, doing it very well. They know how to navigate certain ways. I'm still thinking about 2-inch tape, working in the recording studio, AC/DC, Jimi Hendrix, you know, not to say that the younger generation isn't, but they're looking at it a completely different way. Like I mentioned this before, like my 3-year-old son is walking down the street and sees a robot delivering groceries from the store, and this is 100% normal. And for me, I'm just like, oh wow, look at this little thing on wheels delivering food. This is the craziest, coolest thing ever. But to him, it's totally normal. So what is AI going to be to people growing up only knowing what AI is? And is AI going to affect the way that we make art? Because in a way, I feel like it already is. Like I've been saying, all the things that we need to do now to navigate. Us music artists have to multitask if we want to create a buzz for ourselves, and we don't have a large budget. Um, if I had thousands of dollars, I could essentially make a few songs and just spend all my money promoting those songs. In one way or another, I the numbers would hit. I would hit streaming numbers, which are basically just stats. It's like a popularity contest. Oh, I have 100 million streams, so I must be the best artist. And it's not necessarily true. It's just because you have a big budget. So, at what point do you want to maintain your creativity and move forward as a true human artist? And and how much do we want to use AI technologies to help propel us moving forward? So, like I said, this is something that I've been, yeah, I have to sit back because I'm already thinking like, hey, when I upload this, I zoom in because I'm doing it on a different uh, platform, and YouTube is a different profile. So these are the things that I'm already finding myself doing, which is kind of ridiculous, like multitasking. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm in a band that's pushed to do TikToks and ads. We miss out on playing events due to streaming numbers, full on. Well, that's a whole other aspect that I didn't mention, but yeah, like when I've said this before on plenty of live streams. I've done many of them. Go to MM Radio on YouTube and you can check out some of them. But I go to my local coffee shop or my local bar and I say, hey, I would like to come out and perform and do some acoustic stuff, during the after dinner, and people are coming there to casually have some drinks, and they usually have, they call them troubadours, come and perform. And the response that I get from my local place, um, it's interesting. I'm not offended at all, but they just say like, "Well, you're not famous enough to do that." And it's like, so they really are like even small mom and pop coffee shops and things like that. When an artist, presents them with like with an offer for a show or something like that, they're automatically going on Spotify or they're going on YouTube and they're looking like, oh, this artist. only has X amount of numbers, and like, ah, no, like it's not going to work. They're not thinking about like, hey, this person would create perfectly chill, amazing background music while my our guests are drinking or doing these things. Let's at least give them a try. Let's give them a chance. I know that like 20 years ago, like that was so much easier. And this is one of the things. I mean, let alone if you're in let's say you're in a rock or a metal band, like you have to deal with Clear Channel and other entities that like basically own most of the venues. So like unless you have unless you have uh, not even record label, but you have like a booking agent or a manager that knows people. Like again, the artists that might have the appeal to people at certain venues isn't necessarily going to be the artist that gets to play those venues. It's going to be the artist that knows the promoters, and that's where we're at. And I don't think AI has anything to blame. If anything, I think AI and blockchain and crypto could actually help. So I don't think AI is 100% bad. I think AI can certainly help, and blockchain and crypto can certainly help. But when I hear people talking about using AI to actually write entire songs, and not even like necessarily changing some of it, it kind of worries me in a way, because if this is what I now as a music artist have to decide whether or not I'm going to stay doing this and competing against people that now they literally can make hundreds of songs in a minute or a day or whatever, how long it's taking. And I have to sit here. I don't have to, but I happily sit here and enjoy my time coming up with unique parts and guitar parts and drum parts and keyboard parts to songs that I do on my own, for using my own creativity that I've earned over the years of being a person, and not relying on a machine learned mechanism that is taking the best aspects from real human beings, most likely, and mixing it in with, the entire web, and scraping the web and getting people's perspectives from India and Nepal and Canada, which I most likely wouldn't have at the drop of a hat, and spitting out like amazing material. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, having AI write you a book, the book can be sculpted in a way where you don't even notice that it's AI. So it's a very hard competition, I feel, and I think it's not going anywhere at the moment. And I wanted to speak out about it because I think that most people are not necessarily talking about the elephant in the room. And I want to talk about the elephant in the room. I don't want to talk about how the elephant in the room is making things great and easy, because everybody is already talking about that. That's what we mostly see, is how great it is or how bad it is. But they're not talking about what it is and how it's affecting us, and the potentials of it being good and bad, and how we are actually dealing with it. Because I don't want to just listen to people tell me like, hey, that's a great app, you should check it out and use it, and then just blindly keep doing that until I'm at the point where I'm like all connected to AI, and I'm not even like taking the time to think about like what it used to be like to be creative, whether you're with a group of people in a band or you're doing it by yourself. What is it that we're going to be missing, or that we're going to lose when we start relying more and more and more on AI technologies? And is that going to be detrimental to uh, certain art forms like rock and roll or metal, jazz, pop music, all of that stuff, world music? So yeah, that's basically my video for today. Again, in the beginning of all these videos so far, this is the third one. I'm actually recording takes on the computer all the way through. for whatever reason, that's why I started doing this. I don't necessarily think I'm going to do that every time I make a video, but that's what I've been doing. So if you want to go back and watch the beginning of this, you can listen to what I was working on. Of course, I'm wearing headphones, so you can't hear the music, but I will be offering the music that I'm making. Um, if you want, DM me so I can have you on my mailing list. I would really appreciate. I'm trying to build a mailing list. I feel like that's something that I should do. I should offer music to people that actually really want to listen to what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna figure out how. Of course, I'll eventually put it on platforms for the masses. But I feel like it's important that people that are actually interested in what I'm doing, that they not only can get access to my music before anybody else, but also whatever else that I'm doing, which I'm working on, and I would love to share with everybody. So thank you, Ryan Grave, and I hope you had I hope you know, had a good time finishing whatever you were working on in the bathroom. And also, thank you for watching, and thank you all for joining. Remember, Radio, YouTube, and like and subscribe, and DM me for my mailing list. Rock and roll.